for them. So in case you're wondering where Malaika and her two boys disappeared off to, they took us through a river that it took us just a little for us to get across and then find her again. And unfortunately, by the time we found her again, she had just tried to hunt some antelope and failed. And when we found them, the two boys had lost Malaika and were desperately searching for her, which just goes to show how traumatic their inevitable separation from their mother is going to be. Now, for those of you who are wondering what that means, these two boys are almost at the verge of independence. So in the next few weeks, possibly, Malaika is going to come back into estrus or into heat, and she is going to mate again, and these two boys will be all on their own, having to fend for themselves and having to fight for a territory. Luckily, they have each other, which begs the question for you that I'm going to pose as a face-off between the male and female cheetah. Who do you think has it tougher out here? Is it the males that have to face up to coalitions just like the one that Brent has, or potentially form coalitions like the one that Brent has? Or is it the females that have to face life as a solitary mum, a single mum, looking after their young cubs in the face of all kinds of adversity? So you can send that through on hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, hashtag male or hashtag female, for the answer as to who has the tougher time of things out here. You can see he's still young. You can see the mantle of fluff along the back of his neck, and he's hungry still. Mum hasn't been very successful this morning, and through no fault of her own. So while our cheetah wanders back in the direction, perhaps to nudge Mum and remind her of his empty belly, let us go and rejoin Brent not far from here at all, because something much bigger has lumbered into his cheetah.
Well, look at that, the biggest land animal in the world. The cheetah just walking past. They completely ignored each other, having no interest in each other. But isn't that amazing? A big ellie ball and the cheetah marching straight towards us again. Now, there are some topi off to our right, and so there are potential hunts about. They haven't spotted the topi yet, and the topi hasn't spotted them yet either, but it's still quite far away. But this is looking very, very exciting. There's also some hartebeest by the looks of things. The grass is a little bit longer down there, so that's going to be really good for the boys, and they're about to arrive in front of us again. Isn't this just too special? Hello, boys. Now you see how they walk up to their slightly elevated areas. It enables them to have a look from a bit higher to see above the grass, and I think it's not going to be long before they spot those topi and hartebeest. Hi, Molly. Molly would like to know, is it possible that the musketeers could be the father to Malaika's cubs? Molly, they're not. They're too young. Malaika's cubs are nearly 2 years old already, and they probably only came into dominance about a year ago, when the youngest was probably 3.5, 4 years old, and the oldest about 4. They're about 4 and 5 now, the different ages. Oh, there we go. Has that laser-like vision spotted the potential hunt that's going to happen down the road? Hopefully, fingers crossed. No, not yet. Still on the move. Now, they're making a very wise cheetah decision, and they're heading away from where the lions are, and they're heading towards potential food. I'm pretty sure that they're going to hunt soon, so let's see what they do next. Your arsenal when it comes to incredible sightings. And I know my good friend Tristan was mocking me about my sleepy cats, but now my sleepy cats are awake cats. Okay, we need to move around to try see where or we're going to move around to where the topi and hartebeest are. Isn't this exciting? Patience, patience, patience. So I say it again, patience. Hashtag Team Mara for the win. Okay. This is going to be awesome. It's a nice big open plain. They're not going into the thickets like they have been hunting for impala in the last couple of days. This is going to be, I think, quite special if they do go on the hunt. Now, as a lot of you have heard me say before, the trick is to be where the hunt's going to end, not where it begins, because you often get left behind. So now, this is the time where I go, if I was a cheetah, how would I think? And I think the hunt's going to end somewhere along this edge here. The animals are all over there. So what I'm going to try to do is get behind the animals without disturbing the topi and the hartebeest and giving away the cheetah's position. So I can see a hartebeest now. So I want to get behind them and see where the cheetah are going to come from. We're right coming down towards the edge of the Talek River here. This is where Miale was yesterday, just on the other side of the river. Hold on, bumpity bump. Oop, bah. Yay. Oh.
Well, it's just a quick little restart for the Mara, and then we will be back up and running that side. Now, we're still trying to find Tanya and cubs. The tracks come this direction, the impalas were shouting, the giraffe was staring, but still no sign of her anywhere in this section that we can find. Like I say, she's here, it's just a matter of trying to get where she is. It is incredibly thick, and it is a possible situation that she's just right up, just driving circles around her. We know how quickly she can disappear. You can see this is the kind of area that we're dealing with, and this is nice and open. It gets really dense further down, and this is exactly where the impalas were shouting. They were all standing on the road here, alarm calling, facing kind of down towards the left hand side, and the tracks for Tandi come that direction. So I'm pretty sure this is where she is, and there you can see the trackers are off on foot as well. So while we kind of see what goes on, let's send you back to the Mara and Brent with those hunting cheetah.
Well, look at this. There we go. There's the Coke's hartebeest, and just beyond him in the grass are the boys. They've definitely seen them now. Welcome back. They're still in stalk mode. They've spotted the hartebeest. We've managed to get around to the other side of where their potential breakfast is, and there's lots of different options. There's hartebeest, there's topi, there's Thompson's gazelle, there's impala, but Coke's hartebeest has definitely been one of their favorite foods in the last couple of months, so it is most likely that they're going to attempt the Cokes. It's a nice big meal for them. It'll get all 5 boys nice and fat and full. There we go. This is so exciting. Now you might hear some other vehicles. The park is open now, so there are other game drive vehicles that are coming in and also enjoying this sighting. Mia is wondering, do the musketeers ever take down zebra? Mia, I have seen them take down sub-adult and young zebra. An adult zebra is a little bit too big and too strong for even 5 male cheetah, but a young zebra or a sub-adult is perfect. The big problem, however, is zebra stallions and mares will defend their young fearlessly and will often attack cheetah when they do that. Now, we're just going to take you away from that cheetah for a little bit, and you can just see there's an absolutely glorious Mara sunrise coming to you live from Kenya. We've got cheetah on the hunt, we've got gazelles, we've got hartebeest, we've got topi, and we've got a magical African sunrise popping through the cloud from the rain last night. So this is just the ideal setting for a cheetah hunt. The light looks like it's going to play along. Isn't this just too amazing? And as I said, patience pays off. This is the 3rd morning we've been waiting with these boys, and they've been sleepy for 2 mornings, but now they're up and on the move. Now we're making sure we give enough space that we don't affect the hunt, but we're going to stay right here, and when they get a bit closer, I'll let you know. But in the meantime, let's go see what Malika and the boys are up to.
Malika is resting herself up after her failed hunting attempt. She's been spotted by all of the antelope around this area, and they are just not letting the matter go. There's alarm calling impala, Thompson's gazelle, and there's even some hartebeest off to the left of us who are standing very cautiously watching her. There they are. See how they're watching her? Making sure they can keep her within their sights so that they don't get stalked. It makes sense to keep an eye on the predators because they know that they have greater stamina than her, so they can stay out of her reach but keep an eye on where she's going. So, a little bit earlier on, I put to you the question of whether or not a male or a female cheetah has it harder out here, whether it's in the Mara or in South Africa. And it was actually a really difficult question because there's pros and cons to both. But most of you, I think, agreed with me, and you came to the conclusion that the female cheetahs have it harder out here, and you are absolutely correct. Out of 28 cubs that Malika has had in her 10 years, 2 of them have reached adulthood and survived. These 2 are probably her last chance to successfully raise sons or daughters, because at 10 years old, this is most likely going to be her last successful litter. And that's just purely based on statistics. She could still have another litter, but female cheetah beyond the age of 10 years old very, very seldom manage to successfully raise their cubs. A 90% mortality rate potentially for the cubs. But on the other side of the coin, her 2 young boys have to now find their way in the world in just a few short weeks. Has Malika prepared them for a potential conflict with the musketeers or the 5 cheetah brothers? Only time will tell. Let us go and see whether or not the said musketeers have made it any closer to their breakfast.
Well, they've gone down at the moment, but they're watching this herd of hartebeest very carefully. Now, you can see there's a young one there, quite young, probably only a month or 2 old. Very, very cute, very playful in this early morning. However, it doesn't know that death is on its way. Now, any big cat, if it sees a baby, that's what it's gonna go for. It's an easier target, much easier to catch, and not as fast and not as alert, not as aware of the adults. Now the boys definitely know that they're there. You can see there are other game drive vehicles here, but we're all keeping our distance to make sure we don't interfere either in the cheetah's favor or in the favor of the hartebeest. But they are very, 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 very interested in that young hartebeest. Now, Miss Cruz is wondering, do cheetah communicate with their tails? Well, you could say yes, they do, but also with their ears and faces, like lions or cats that sort of hunt in groups like male cheetah coalitions, utilize visual communication. So it's quite incredible. There's very, very new studies that are going on with the communication that these cats use with different movements and ear flicks and tail flicks. So it is... Oh dear. Lions roaring close by. Somewhere below where the sun is rising, there are lions as well. So it's all happening down here in the Talek River Valley. But while we play the patience game, because it is the most important game on a safari, to see what happens next, let's send you back to James to see how he's doing in Kruger.
Yes, the Masai Mara certainly is on fire this morning. Our elephant is still searching for his vitamin C and sugar fix with the marulas, but you will not believe what I've discovered from the air. Look at this astounding thing sitting in a tree, found for us by the great French Gabonese Air Force pilot Sébastien Rombi, who's flying our sky camera today. It's a pineapple in a marula tree. How very strange. It's almost as if there's a reason for it being there, and I wonder if that reason couldn't have to do with winning a magical trip for two to Kenya or South Africa with Nat Geo Journeys. With Safari Bingo, I think it probably does. So do go along to natgeo.com/Safari Live, learn how to play Safari Bingo, and you too could be jetting out here with your best pal in the world with Nat Geo Journeys. I'll announce the winner, as I said, at the end of Thursday night's show. Pineapple, in case you're wondering, for those of you who are a little bit slow on the uptake, is one of the things on your bingo. Very good. Okay, we're going to continue following this elephant now. And while we do that, Scott is still out on foot. I'm glad that he is using his vast legs to track down my favourite predators of the Kruger.
They certainly are my favourite predator too, and there's nothing better than trying to track them down on foot. It's the ultimate adult treasure hunt in my opinion. And we had tracks of her and the cub not too far behind us heading in this direction, and that means good things because she's not going to be moving as quickly when she's got the cub with her. So I'm feeling confident that with a little bit more snooping around in this area and maybe a bit more help from the animals like impala, monkeys and birds that will alarm call when they see leopards, we may be able to narrow down our search and hopefully get lucky shortly. What I'm doing at the moment is just checking some of the kind of pathways. You can see a bit of a pathway ahead of us here, and just like we like to use roads and highways, so do the animals. So by checking all these little pathways, eventually we're going to find the freshest tracks, and hopefully those tracks will lead us to the leopards. TP, you'd like to know what kind of foods do leopards like? And they're very, very opportunistic. Thought I saw something there, but you tend to find your mind plays tricks on you when you're trying to track down animals. And they're very opportunistic. Leopards will eat fish, birds, antelope, lizards, tortoises. They're not very fussy, and they have to be quite adaptable because they're not the biggest of predators, and especially when they're youngsters, they'll eat just about anything they can catch. I'm hoping that if we do find Tundi and her little cub, maybe we'll get lucky enough to see that little cub practicing its hunting, stalking grasshoppers or small lizards. It's their favorite thing to do when mom's not wanting to play. Okay, well, as we continue our hunt for the leopard, we're going to send you all the way back up to the Masai Mara with the Musketeer Coalition. I've got a feeling that they're going to produce the goods today. Only time will tell.
Well, good luck, Scotty. I hope you managed to track down a leopard on foot. Our boys are still just making sure. I think that lion roar might have made them a little bit nervous. So they're just making sure that there's no lions closer. That lion was probably about 1 kilometer away, just calling. Now, of course, lions are the cheetah's biggest threat. You can see the little herd of koks are completely oblivious to the fact that there are cheetah watching them. Okay, boys are up, boys are up. There we go. Now it looks like 2 of them are coming around towards where we are, and you never know, the others might stay somewhere there or they might even be coming to utilize the little slope behind us to sneak up on those cokes. They would prefer a little bit longer grass to get close enough, but I think they've definitely spotted that baby. Tuan Vansky would like to know, what is the biggest prey the cheetahs go after? In this area, it is normally an adult male coax hartebeest or topee. Sometimes a sub-adult zebra, or the sort of, oh, I lie, they've taken down a sub-adult eland before, and an eland is a massive antelope. That is the biggest I've ever heard of them taking down, but normally it's small to medium-sized antelope, so topee and hartebeest are on the big size. Now that's the adults, not the youngsters. Oh, listen, the lion's calling again. Okay, while we wait for the boys to get into position, let's go back to Taylor, who's with the lions, still on that buffalo kill.
Brent, all I have to say is that those cheetah are very lucky that they're not on the side of the river. Could you imagine them bumping into 20 lions? Because that's how many we have here. The Olololo pride, and then of course the triangle males, or the Kichwa males as they're also known as. But look, there's not even a skerrick left on that buffalo carcass. They've devoured every last bit. Now, for those of you who are sending in all your tweets, I'm so sorry we can't get them all, but we do have someone helping us. Dr. Jan, who's the Vice President of the Wild, will be assisting and answering some of your tweets that we don't get to, but please keep on sending them through. Hashtag Safari Live is the way to get hold of us. Now, everything has slowly starting to settle down here now, and I think that's because they've been, well, gorging on this buffalo since yesterday, so their tummies are quite full now. But that doesn't mean that they aren't going to squabble over the remains of this carcass. Now, as we look at this beautiful big male, a question has come through from Nancy, and you're wondering if there's only one dominant male. So if you want to survive out here, and if you want to prolong your genetics in the lion kingdom, it's good to team up with other males, and that's exactly what has happened here. The Triangle Coalition consists of 4 male lions. We've only got 3 here. The one other, he roams around on himself and just comes back to the coalition when he can. And it's also very important for the survival of the young cubs of the Olololo pride that the Triangle Coalition stay within this area, because if new male lions come through here, all these cubs under a year old are going to be in a lot of trouble and probably get killed in order to bring the females back into estrus again. So let's hold on and keep our fingers crossed that the Triangle boys stay in this area for as long as possible, at least until these cubs get a bit older. Right, I'm going to send you back down to South Africa. I think it's to Steph, where he's got the largest land mammal on foot.
We finally managed to find what we've been searching for the whole morning, and we've walked about 6 or 7 miles already today. We've got some elephant in the distance. It's a herd of elephant. There's a tiny, tiny baby. We're looking at about 100 to 150 pounds of baby with that particular female. We're going to be very clever as we get close to her by using the wind direction. As you can see, I have a sock filled with ash here, and by the way, one of those words is your bingo word for today. The wind is blowing across, so the best approach for these elephants are directly at them or from this side here. And so we're going to follow them at a discreet distance, probably around about this distance here is about 100 yards or so, and we're going to try and not disturb them. Now, to answer your question, Rebecca, you wanted to know, am I not afraid of being close to these elephants? To be honest with you, yes. It is quite nerve-wracking being close to elephant, because I reckon personally that elephant herds are the most dangerous animals that we can find out here. But to be close to an elephant herd on foot is something very, very special. And we're going to try and do it without disturbing these elephants. I think we can. There's a very strong wind blowing across us now, and there's lots of termite mounds in the area, so I think we can get within the orbit of these elephants, and hopefully we'll be able to do it in the next couple of minutes. Now, while we get into a better position, we're going to be sending you over to James, who's got a game to play with you.
I'm going to play a game. We're just sitting with our elephant still, same fellow, still eating his marula fruits. He's having a bit of roughage now, some grass and some leaves. Now, over the course of the last 2 safaris, remember we still have another 2 after tonight, I've introduced you to 2 of my friends. We had Bertie the buffalo to start with, and then yesterday we had Bertie the buffalo, and then we had Walter the wildebeest first. Now we have got Gerald the giraffe. Now, Gerald is a very old and dear friend of mine, and he came from the Sabi Sands, where I'm sitting now, or the Kruger, which is part of the Sabi Sands. Well, the Sabi Sands is part of the Kruger. Now, we're going to play a game called Where Am I? And you're going to tell me where you think the giraffe you're looking at now is from. Is it from the Kruger, or is it from the Mara? You go hashtag Safari Live and then hashtag Kruger or hashtag Mara. Tell us where you think that giraffe was from. I'll give you one last look at it. What you're looking for basically is the patterning, and you may not use any search engine to try and find the answer. You can only use the recesses of your mind or your intuitive telepathy to find out where you think that giraffe was from. So that's hashtag Safari Live, hashtag Mara or hashtag Kruger, depending on where you think that relative of Gerald's is from. Gerald, you go and sit over there. You're a very heavy fellow. Excellent. Our elephant is just over there, and I'm still trying to get a nice picture of him with Ronald the rover. Ooh, look at that. Shaking the tree. Can you see him there, Fergus? Look at all the marulas falling down. I think he's found the only non-harvested tree here at the moment. Patrick, you want to know which of the guides here is the best driver? Well, I can tell you inescapably that it is not me. I am a very poor driver. I have oftentimes got stuck and bashed this vehicle on bits and pieces of things. But I can also tell you that it's not Brent Leo Smith. Now, Brent Leo Smith thinks that he is the greatest driver since Lewis Hamilton. He is not, in fact. And so I'm going to give the best driver nomination to Jamie Patterson. Jamie Patterson, of course, is built like a very small antelope, but she drives with the skill of Schumacher. So we're going to go with Jamie Patterson on that. Brent Leo Smith, and I would like you to tell him this the next time you see him, that he is not very good at driving. And in fact, you can go across to him now and tell him he's still with those cheetah. And please tell him, do not break the car as you have done so many times before.
James says that because he can't see over the steering wheel. He's so short. But the boys are on the move. That lion roaring put them off going after those hartebeest. So they're now heading down towards the Talek River. They're still on the move and on the hunt. There are animals down here. So this is very, very exciting. We might have to dash off to go around because it's a very steep river and sometimes we can struggle to cross it. But they might just stop on the edge here and just have a quick look across the plain to see what's happening. I think first, as always with cheetah, look, there we go, perfect. They're just stopping, using the high ground to peruse over. You will see other vehicles around. We are in the National Reserve. There they go. And you never know. There's bushbuck, impala, reedbuck in these low areas. Now, I must say I probably agree with James. Jamie is probably the best driver. However, if we had to go to the worst driver, we always have to ask the cameraman, and I think that dubious honour belongs to James Henry. But in the meantime, let's go to the best driver, Jamie.
Well, certainly the honour of best host goes to James Henry, but I'm somewhat obliged to say that, am I not? I'm just going to sit here quietly and gloat over the fact that I have been crowned the best driver by Mr. Henry. This is a true honour, and I'm sure comes at Brent's, I'm sure he had to swallow a little bit of pride there. As for having to be able to see over the steering wheel, well, as it happens, I can't see over the steering wheel either. But that's why we sit on sugar cushions. And that is how we can see over the steering wheel. So there we go. We've had to do some serious driving to keep up with our lovely cheetah this morning, and they've been very busy as well. So they're taking a well-deserved rest. However, I also think that the lovely Malika, I'm still floating on the bubble of joy of that declaration, but I still think that the lovely Malika is waiting for the antelope around her to relax before she launches her next stalk. So she's still on alert, her head is still up, she's still looking around, and that gives us a fantastic opportunity to...
Well, unfortunately, we've had a little technical difficulty with Jamie, but we are in the thickets and trying to see if we can find Thandi and the cub. We just picked up very fresh tracks coming into this area, so I'm trying to have a little look to see if I can see her, but it's proving to be insanely thick in here, and I don't know quite where I'm going to go from here, because I think we're a little bit kind of stuck in terms of the thickness, but we're going to try and see if we can get through. No, that's going to be too thick, so we're not going to be able to go this way. We're going to have to go back the way we've just came, and while we do that, let's send you back across to James and see if he's having an easier time than what myself and Jamie are.
I'm having an easier time, but Ronald the Rover has deployed himself to quite close to this elephant bull, and he's had a couple of times where he's rolled on his side and been stood upon by elephants. Elephants often kick tortoises if they are competing for the delicious marula fruits. And so there's Ron, you can see he's quite close by, taking serious risks in order to bring you some wonderful pictures of this elephant. Now, I'm not going to move him because it seems that every time Ron makes a noise by moving his little wheels... Oh dear. Now we're in trouble. Careful now. Don't breathe, Ron. Just hold steady. Hold still. There we are. He's okay, everyone. I can feel him breathing from here. His heart is pounding. He's a stout and brave fellow, though. I think he'll be okay. He is made of very stern stuff, of course. I'll just sneak him very slowly forward. And by doing that, we don't make a noise. Well, I don't know what this elephant is going to do. Body on the internet, this elephant is being spectacularly tolerant with Ronald. There's a bull that is living around Chitwa at the moment that has now kicked him over 3 times. The first thing he did was kick a tortoise, and the tortoise survived, and then we put Ronald in, and he was tolerant of Ronald for a while, and then he thought Ronald was clearly competing for marula fruits, and so he gave him a big fat kick. And now he seems to be relaxed again. The elephant and Ronald, I mean. I think both of them are quite relaxed with each other. This chap is actually being fantastic. We've followed him now for, I think it must be an hour. And he has not reacted to the vehicle even once. He's just very gently gone about eating his marulas. And the reason he spent most of the time at this particular tree is that it seems for some reason not to have been harvested before. And I'm not sure if you saw him, but he gave it a great big shake, and a lot of fruit came falling down. And lots of the other marula seem to be almost finished. It's been a very lean marula kind of season. Ooh. All right, we're getting the results in of the, where am I? Mara 40. Ooh, I mustn't say it on the internet. Sorry, everybody. Let me just write it down so it sticks in my head. There we are. The game Where Am I? Of course, the greatest game in the world. Now, what I do just have to do is move Ronald beyond the stick that he's looking at, because when our TV viewers come back, we don't want them to be staring at a stick. It is not what people watch Nat Geo Wild for. And a comment from Ghost Feet, who says Ronald is his favourite. Well, I think Tundi and her cub would be a little bit miffed that you say Ronald is your favourite. But there it is. So would Brent Leo Smith, of course. Now, of course, Brent is actually quite a good driver, but what I did not want to do was give him that sort of compliment on television. I'd never have heard the end of it. What I can tell you, though, is inescapably that I am most certainly not the best driver. All you have to do is ask Sebastian Rombi, who has, or Fergus, both of them have got various injuries from the things I've hit and not seen.
Trying to get a bandage, but I couldn't find one.
Fergus is looking for a bandage to help himself. Kirsten, how long have we got? Just want to work out if this elephant's going to be here or not. 2 minutes. We may come out with this elephant, or we may go somewhere else, because there seems to be some swimming action going on in the Masai Mara. I'm reticent to play the game Who Won today. No, we're going to go across to Brent Leo Smith now and his cheetahs. No, we're not going to go to Brent Leo Smith and his cheetahs. We're going to stay here with the elephant. Something happened. I suspect Brenty is in a dodgy signal area. And cheetahs show very little appreciation. Okay. Please don't go into an elephant. We've still got 4 days before we go back.
Sorry, Kruger. Look at that. They've just jumped across the Talek River. They're sitting on some rocks. They are heading back towards their normal stomping grounds around Hamakop. So we're going to be following them there. We now have to go downstream quite a way to find a way to cross the Talek. Welcome back, everyone. The cheetah have just crossed the Talek River. So they are scent marking on one of their favourite trees at one of their favourite crossing points. And there we go. Look at all of them, making sure that any other cheetah that comes near the spot knows that this is musketeer country. Now, they've just jumped across the river. You can see it's quite a difficult spot for us. What we're going to do is race downstream to the next crossing point and try find a way to get through the river without getting stuck. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Now, I'm still certain they're on the hunt, so I'm going to race across to catch up with them on the other side of the river. While we do that, Steph is with the biggest, largest creature, and he's on foot.
We've managed to catch up to these elephants. Please excuse me whispering, we're very close. We're about 50 yards away at most. We've got about 10, 12 elephants around us. Many babies. They don't know we're here. They're busy having a wrestle. The youngsters are wrestling with each other. Just here. It is absolutely exciting. Now, I'm feeling a mixture of anxiety and fear. I'm checking the wind direction constantly. And isn't it just the most amazing thing that in today's day and age, that humans and elephants can share the same resource, but for completely different. Look at that, pushing them over. A proper wrestle. Now, Nemo, you'd like to know, how do I know how old an elephant is? Basically, Nemo, it's to do with their size. A young elephant, younger than 6 months, doesn't have any tusks. These elephants that we're looking at the moment are about 3 years old, 3 to 4 years old, and they're having a proper wrestle. The one elephant has pushed the other one down. Look at the little baby now as well, coming in, making all the sound effects in the world. Look at this youngster. He's younger than 6 months. Now I just want to tell everybody and remind everybody we are live. This is happening right now in the Kruger National Park. I am on foot to these magnificent mammals, and they're moving slowly past us, completely unaware of us being here. We're just a small group, just 3 of us. We're standing on top of an elevated position. They're going to come out now into this open area here. But another one of my friends, James, has also got an elephant where he is. So off you go.
Ronald has just about survived this encounter. Now the elephant is shaking for more marula fruits. Did you hear them all falling? Thankfully, Ronald wasn't hit by a falling missile. Now, thank you very much for playing the game Where Am I? I am distressed to report that I lost the game today. 56% of you correctly identified that giraffe as being in the Kruger National Park, which indeed it was. It was from here at Djuma. And if you look now at this little clip, you can see the difference between this giraffe and the Maasai giraffe that we find up in East Africa. Now, as we head towards the end of the show, we have to play the final game of the day, and that is who has won, Mara or Kruger. I think we are at 1 each at the moment as we go into the third version of the game. So you get to vote, #SafariLive, #Mara or #Kruger, who has won today. I don't really think it's been much of a competition, but perhaps I will be proved wrong. Now, the other thing that you need to hear or see right now, Fergus, is that I am chewing some straw. Can you see me chewing straw? Good. Well done. Okay. Now, Walter, you're wondering if an elephant has ever sat on my vehicle. No, mercifully not. In fact, I don't think an elephant's backside has ever been close enough to the vehicle to sit on it. I have seen pictures of elephants sitting on much smaller vehicles in the Kruger National Park, in fact, where you get these huge lines of very enthusiastic tourists in very small cars. And I have seen elephants sitting on those and rubbing their bottoms on those. Okay. On that note, I believe that we're going to go across to Scott now. I think he's staring at the ground. Perhaps he will sit on it.
I certainly am staring at the ground for a very good reason. That is a very, very fresh leopard track, and it is the leopard we've been tracking the whole morning. We are getting closer, and I'm quite surprised she's moved quite a long distance this morning. It's been tricky for us to track in this overcast light. Ideally, we would have some sunlight, which casts a shadow on the track. I think I can hear Tristan's vehicle also driving through this area, so either him or I are going to get lucky. She couldn't have moved much further. and this is a perfect place that we're heading into, that she could stash her cub and just relax. Leopards love thick areas and riverbeds, and even though this is very open, the area we're about to drop into here is very, very thick and has the perfect hiding places for her and her cub. My adrenaline is racing. It's been racing the whole morning, and it sounds like Tristan is driving off-road here, and maybe he has a better idea of where she is. I don't want to move too quickly into this riverbed. It could be dangerous. I'm just going to slow it down a bit and send you all the way back up to the Masai Mara, where it sounds they're having an incredible morning. And well done to the team up there, and Taylor, who's found you guys some lions.
Oh my goodness, you won't believe what we've just spotted. I can't believe it. Is that a black rhino, Manu? Oh my goodness, not just one but two black rhino. I was actually going off to see if I could find that other male lion that you got to see from the balloon. And look what we have been treated with instead. Well, let me tell you, that's better than finding a male lion in my books, especially seeing two of the most endangered animals in Africa. And, well, to see two together is amazing as well. Wow. Remember, you're live with us here in the Masai Mara, and you really don't know what you're going to see around the next corner. Look at that. That is absolutely spectacular. Now, the reason why we are so lucky to be seeing two together is typically male and female black rhinos mark and defend territory, so you don't often see them in a group. Let's try and see. That one looks like a female, the one closest to us. I can't tell the other. And also, if you're missing safari bird on your bingo sheet, there is an oxpecker sort of just flapping around on the rhino to the left. This is incredible. Remember, you can chat to us. All you have to do is hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. Oh, wow. Now, I don't know what that rhinoceros is doing, but you can see she's got her bottom in the air. I don't know if she's perhaps having a drink or if she's found a nice little shrub to munch on. Now, there's often a lot of confusion around black rhinos, especially out here in the Mara if you haven't seen them before. Big open grasslands, lots of small little shrubs in between, as you can see, that sort of dark green in color. So that's what they're doing. They're munching on the small shrubs. They're not grazing. I think that one may have sat down, actually. Let's see what happens here. Now, Mark, you're wondering if animals prefer fresh rainwater or if they will drink muddy water. They're not particularly fussy, in fact. You know who is fussy? Are the elephants. The elephants like to drink the cleanest of clean water, and when they do have to drink murky water, sometimes what you will see elephants doing is actually using their trunks to stir around in the water and get rid of some of that gunk, and then slurp it up through their trunks and squirt it back into their mouths. Rhino, however, I haven't seen them ever taking a preference before. They'll just drink what's available. Now, of course, they can go down to the Mara River, which is lovely. It is a bit churned up at times, but it's still nice water to drink. However, there is no need for them to go down to the Mara River because of all of these drainage lines that have filled up. And we did have quite a bit of rain last night, so there'll be lots and lots of fresh water to drink from. Manu, there's a third. I think there's a third rhino just to the right on that tree line. I think it is. This is incredible to see so many together like this. It is. It's another one. Wow. Well, we are going to sit here and we're going to try and figure out the dynamics of the rhino, whether they're male or female, and hopefully we'll be able to come back to you with some answers. But down in the Sabi sand, the land of leopards, Tristan is looking for rosettes.
Well, I am Taylor, and we are hot on the trail of Thandi and her cub. The tracks that Scott and I have found are really very, very fresh. She's not far at all. We've just got to try and find her in this mess and tangle of bushes and trees and all kinds of other things. So I'm just going off-road in the hope that we bump into her while Scott and Herbie follow the tracks. coming towards my area. So we've kind of leapfrogged ahead, and this is sometimes how we try and find these leopards, is that because they kind of get into thickets, it's always good just to try and get in front, check termite mounds, thick areas. We saw yesterday with that cub that she likes to hide them in dense thickets. So if we can get into a thicket and maybe we get lucky and we just bump into her, that she's walking. Now I think that she might still be moving around, and that's why we're kind of struggling, is because we're just kind of behind her all the time. And so it's why I've come a lot further forward, just to try and see if maybe, just maybe, she pops out somewhere in this area. There is a really big waterhole not too far away, and I wonder if maybe she's not going towards that waterhole. I would be very, very surprised if that were the case, because it is quite open there and it's going to be risky for her to take her cub into that area, into a very exposed space. Generally when they have their cubs, they'll like to drink in small places where there's small pans and no risk of crocodiles and any other predators. Now, talking about Scott and him helping me out trying to find these tracks and see if we can find this leopard, let's go across to him and see if he's got a better update as to where this leopard went.
Well, I agree with Tristan. She could well be at a little waterhole taking a drink. She's moved a long way this morning, and you can see we've got into this thick kind of riverine area. So many hiding places, and even though Tristan has been driving around here searching, as you take a look about you, you'll notice there are just so many hiding places, and with that incredible camouflage leopards have, it can be very tricky to spot them. Let's move up to some higher ground. It sounds like our signal's a bit shaky down in the dip, and we're just slowly making our way through here. Again, it's so tempting to move quickly, but we can't. It would be very dangerous to do that. But an animal that can move quickly is the cheetah with Jamie, and I'm hoping they're going to be doing just that for you guys. We haven't had any luck with the cheetah just yet, but that could change, and they are one of the best animals to see.
The search for rosettes continues in South Africa, but we've got our spots here in the Mara. And while Malika doesn't seem to be moving just yet, she's still on alert and she's still looking around and looking to see, if there's a more comfortable place to put her head, perhaps. But remember, this is only the third of our 5-part Safari Live series, which means that we'll be following her story for another 2 episodes after this. You'll be able to watch as she goes about her everyday business, and of course in the process of raising her 2 lovely boys. As for those boys, well, they seem to be resting up as well. It's been a long night for them. They were woken up early by their mother, and like all teenagers, they need their rest. Resting up in the long grass. Don't forget to send through your questions on hashtag Safari Live on Twitter quickly, before we run out of time to answer them. He's listening. Even though he's asleep, his ears are back, turned across in our direction. They were so playful earlier this morning. I wonder where we'll find them again this afternoon. We're going to keep on following them for the duration of this series as they move further in the direction of those 5 males that you saw with Brent. And the special thing, of course, the fact that we get to sit with these cheetah is there's a lovely question from Jonesy Saw It All, I think. I'm not sure what all you saw, but I can tell you that of the 3 cats, the cheetah is the most endangered, the endangered big cat, and one of the most endangered predators that we could see out on these safaris, short of actually seeing wild dogs, which hopefully we'll see before the series ends. Leopards and lions do face the normal threats of all wildlife around the planet, which of course is the destruction of their habitat and a lack of space, but the cheetah are the ones that are the most highly specialized and the least adaptable. Oh, speaking of adaptable things, it sounds like brave Ronald is still playing with his life in order to bring you the best possible views of the world around him. Let's go and rejoin him and see if he can see some elephants.
He really is a selfless fellow, Ronald. This is still our elephant bull, who seems to be getting rather used to Ronald. Now, Ronald has a fairly long history. The current incarnation of his existence, which sees him with a camouflaged top and sides made of wood to resist the effects of elephant stomping, were not always there. Have a look at his evolution thus far. Oh, so sorry. No, we're not going to have a look just yet. We're just going to keep looking at Ronald approaching the elephant. All right, let's have a look at Ronald's evolution now.
This is Ronald. He's a rover with a special purpose. Deployed into harm's way, Ronald seeks the perfect tortoise-eyed view of the wilderness. He may be a little slow, but his stealth and patience pay huge dividends. He is able to take chances that guides simply could not on foot or in the vehicles. But there are risks that he must take in his quest for the ultimate shot. Most of the time he survives unscathed. Sometimes, however, he has to take one for the team.
Welcome back. We are racing now. We went through an incredibly difficult river crossing. There's mud everywhere, but we're trying to get you back to the cheetah for the last few moments. So hold on. This is what you call a Ferrari safari. This is live. We couldn't plan it. We nearly got stuck. I nearly joined a club that most of the guys here belong to, and that's called the Marshmallow Club, and that's for the people who get stuck in the mud. But remember, this is live. We don't know what's going to happen. I'm hoping there's a tree on the horizon that is one of the cheetah's scent marking trees, and I'm hoping they're going to be there to give us a wonderful little show before the end of the safari. We're so close. Can we see them? Not yet. Hi, cheetah. Would you like to know how many miles do cheetah cover in a day? The furthest I've been with them in a day is about 7 or 8 miles, but at night they actually sometimes cover bigger distance. The biggest distance I've covered with these 5 in particular is about 17 miles at night. So they crossed the river right here, and we had to go all the way around to try and get across. Is that them there, Craig? Is that them? Let's just get up to this tree here where I was hoping there might be scent marking. Yes, they're there! They're here! After all that rushing, we are going to get one last view of the boys. And remember, we're going to be with them again tomorrow morning. Hello, guys. You're making me work hard today. There they are. Oof, that was exciting. Oh, and now they've flopped down. Or some of them at least. Oh, goodness. Here we go. Isn't that absolutely exciting? Thank you for joining us all on this epic live safari. It has been absolutely mind-blowing, and hopefully we can do it even better tomorrow morning. Now, the boys are walking towards us. I'm going to stay with them after the drive to see where they go, to make sure we know where they're going to be for tomorrow morning. And again, hopefully Kruger can up their game. But remember, back your team, hashtag Mara, hashtag Mara, hashtag Team Kruger. I think the Mara definitely took this one. And one of the reasons I think the MVPs We're probably Taylor's lions, but close behind Jamie and my cheetah. So we can't do it all again with you tomorrow on Wild 10 p.m. Eastern.